Alright everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for the annual Summer Games Fest video. We have a lot to get through today. You've probably seen the video length, so I'm going to just keep this intro short. We're breaking down the Summer Games Fest, going conference by conference, looking at the games that I feel like talking about and whether I think they'll be good, mid, or bad based on what I've been shown. I'll be giving each conference a grade on how they were, and I also made some predictions about 2 weeks ago about what games we were going to see, and you get to laugh at how wrong I was. Time codes are in the description if you want to jump around because this video is going to be big. So let's get into it. Starting off with Sony. It feels like Sony watched my last video and heard me bitching about Concord because that's how they started off their conference. This cutscene, like the one last year, looks amazing. The gameplay looks fine. I guess Hero Shooter season is back in gaming, and one of the most interesting features about this game is that they're planning on having a new cutscene every week that progresses the overall narrative of the world. I'm sure someone's going to dedicate their time to posting them all on YouTube if the game ends up sucking. The game is actually coming fairly soon with the beta in July and launching in August, so this might be one to keep a lookout for. I'm not convinced though. God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC. I don't think this was a surprise to anyone. Holy shit, it's a new Dynasty Warriors game. I don't know why it's not called number 10, but I'll take any Dynasty Warriors at this point, or Dynasty Warriors. I've always called it Dynasty Warriors. Infinity Nikki is certainly a game, I think. Look, I can't completely comprehend what I saw in this trailer, so I might actually just have to get back to you guys on that one. Ballad of Antaria has a pretty sweet art style and looks pretty good. For some reason, seeing the word ballad in this font though made it look like it was spelt wrong. Is it a good idea to hold a beta for Marvel Rivals so close to Concord, which is like kind of competing in the same like hero shooter space? Oh, would you look at that? Console exclusive skins, my favorite. Where Winds Meet looks eerily similar to that other game from before, the one about ballads. So Until Dawn is coming to PC, and it's kind of weird that it took 9 years to port this to PC, but I actually kind of think that this might be a remake. I could have sworn this was already on PC, but maybe it wasn't. Path of Exile 2 still looks like an ARPG. I think it'll be good, but it's probably just not going to be for me. Silent Hill 2. I do not envy any team that has to work on the Silent Hill franchise because everything is just going to be compared to that one Kojima game that got canned that everyone loved the demo for.
If you look at the remake, you can just go outside. Your arms can't be like a fucking thing right now.
Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought Square Enix owned Monster Hunter. Doesn't really matter. There were some really rough things being shown in this trailer, but I'm more willing to believe something is going to be good when they don't hide the cracks of the game. And we saw a little bit more like uninterrupted gameplay in a different showcase, and it made the game look much better. So I think this will be good. Cool, I've always wanted a DualShock controller that could just shoot out of my hands and into my TV. I'm not joking when I say that this Astrobot game looks really, really cool, but it does feel like Sony is just jerking themselves off a little bit too much with the self-promotion in this game. And that was the end of the Sony one. That was certainly one of the state of plays of all time. It felt like Sony was in such a rush to go before everyone else that they forgot that they didn't actually have that much to show. But at least it was short and not bloated with garbage. And I originally went with a C- grade for this showcase, but after watching like the rest of the Summer Games Fest, I kind of yearn for the shorter runtime that this one had. So I'll bump it up to a C+. Sony also called this a state of play instead of whatever their normal bigger showcases are. I can't remember the name. But if you didn't want to get compared to the others, then you really should have tried to separate yourself a little further away than a week to the rest of the Summer Games Fest. Moving on to the main event. It's Jeff Fest time again. Hey, remember Minecraft Dungeons? Well, what if that, but it's Horizon Zero Dawn and Lego. This one actually like looks better than it had any right to be. Alright, come on Torn Banner, you couldn't have just made this game but called it something new? Well, that's a prediction down, but normally I'd be excited for a permadeath zombie co-op game, but the day before has just kind of ruined everything for everyone. Fortunately though, the PC gaming show came in clutch with a better look at the game, and it's brought me too excited, I think. I think this one might be a good. Quidditch Champions. I remember there being like a Quidditch minigame in one of those Harry Potter games on the PS2, or maybe it might have just been a standalone game. It's such a weird vague memory, I don't quite like remember what it was, but you know, I was kind of sad that Hogwarts Legacy didn't have a Quidditch mode in the game, which was like, you know, a thing in a game over a decade ago they could have just copied. But I guess a standalone game could be fine if it's good. I don't know. Cuff Bust looks scuffed in all the right ways, and this trailer was actually an absolute highlight. It was pretty funny. Every time I see Star Wars Outlaws, I think it could look alright, but then I just have to look at the picture. You know, everyone please look at the picture with me right now. Ooh, never showed up. Hey Never, I will play your gorgeous looking game, but if that wolf dies, I'm refunding it. Sad monkey. Space Marine 2 looks like the game to scratch that Gears of War itch that I've been having lately. It'll at least tie me over until the next Gears of War game comes out. Metaphor looks okay, but every time I get shown more of this game, I kind of get a little bit more excited for it. MetaQuest was an ad partner, but independently of the ad, they showed us another look at the Batman game. Nothing gets me more unexcited for a game trailer when I see a not actual gameplay disclaimer at the bottom, so thanks Batman. I can honestly tell you that I have no fucking clue what is happening in a Street Fighter trailer. Fears of Metal looks like Braveheart mixed with Dynasty Warriors, and it actually looks pretty fantastic. I have played more Dragon Ball fighting games in my life than I can count, and I think I'll be playing this one too. Delta Force Hawk Ops couldn't have looked more generic if it tried, and I don't think it tried because look at the fucking name of the game. I don't have an opinion on Fatal Fury, but I kind of called that it would show up, so I'll take the prediction and move on with my life. Holy shit, that kid just got punted so hard. Love the animation of the trailer. Battle Crush looks like a Mario Party mini game, but like one of the better ones. So Blumhouse showed up and decided they wanted to be the horror game publisher and showed like 6 games. I'm not going to talk about them all, but they all looked very unique and distinct, and I'm just going to say that they're all going to be good. Why not? Power Rangers? Jesus, what year is it? Actually, it doesn't matter what year it is because that guitar riff will never get old. Hey, deer and boy, I will play your gorgeous looking game, but if that deer dies, I'm refunding the game. Kingdom Come Deliverance was probably the best game that I never played, and I wonder if the sequel can top that. Man, it has been so long since Slitterhead was revealed, and I am still just as confused at what this game is. Killer Bean looks terrible in all of the right ways, and I love it. In this game, an angry girl climbs a mountain, and that seems like it's about it. Wonder Stop. Alright, this is one to talk about. Made by one of the creators of Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide. Both are games with some of the best narratives I have played in gaming, and I put both Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide together on par with each other. That might be a bit unpopular, but Beginner's Guide is underrated as hell. And while I was watching this trailer, I had to remind myself of that because I was almost lost at the tea shop farming sim, and then the turn happened in the trailer, and I was just like, yes! Look, I trust you, Davey. I'm ready for whatever you have for me. Just please give it to me soon. The First Descendant. I actually played a tiny bit of this one in one of the technical tests and didn't think much of it, but these arseholes had to go and like emotionally blackmail me by playing M83 in their trailer, so, you know, okay, I'll give it another go. Fine. Inner Sloth has decided to become a indie game publisher, and they showed off a few games, and they all look, you know, creative and unique. It's super cool to see these guys use their success to help fund other people's dreams, and I'm a huge fan of that. Also, we got a tease for the new Among Us TV show, and there is a star-studded cast, but we didn't get to hear any of them in the trailer, which inadvertently feels like the show could have just been done as like a silent TV era style show instead, and like relied on the slapstick and the animation, but it was weird. Look, I don't bet on any Sonic game being good. You just don't do that. This one looks better than most, but I'm still not going to say it's going to be good. Dune Awakenings, the MMO, tells the story of if we lived in the universe where all the cool shit didn't happen. I wouldn't put that as a mark against this game because it still looks pretty good, but I just think that's kind of funny. Battle Aces. Hey RTS fans, are you excited for this one? Because I can't get a read on RTSs when I see them. Man, I love Sam Lake. Night Springs looks good. Come on, Remedy, just put it on Steam. Let me buy the game and let it sit on my backlog unplayed for like 5 years. That's all I want. Where Is My Mind is one of the most played out songs used in any kind of media. So I'm just like, this is a personal plea to just everyone to just stop it. Just stop using this song. It's over. New World, I expect better from you. Hyper Lightbreaker, there you are. I've been waiting for you for so long, so please just don't make me wait much longer. I really want to play this game. Party Animals showed up to fuck up my prediction, so god damn it, piss off. The new Skate game could go either way. The Tim Robinson sketch was really good though. They kind of hyped me up a bit. Boo, Power, boo! Okay, I know there are going to be people hyped for this Power World expansion, but I just don't like this game. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll come around on it one day. So Valorant showed up for way too long just to really tell us that they're bringing Valorant to consoles, and playing this game with a controller sounds like an absolute nightmare. How much money, Ken? How much money did they give you to do this? Oh my god, it got worse. Is that Chris Hemsworth? Will Arnett? What the hell? They started playing Nickelback. Oh god, this is a fucking nightmare. I love how before the Phantom Blade Zero trailer, Jeff emphasized that it had real gameplay. The game looks real, but I gotta point out the sound mixing in this one. The sound mixing and the music in this trailer was really, really good. This one's actually looking like it could be pretty decent. And that does it for Jeff Fest 2024. And you know what? Not bad. It started off pretty strong, but it started to drag a little bit more towards the end. But I think this one gets an A-. No absolutely huge standout announcements, but wasn't a lot of fluff or like really egregiously shit looking games either, so we'll take it. Day of the Devs. You know, I like indie games, so it's time for indie games. Battle Vision Network looks kind of interesting. I think this one might be better to play than to look at. Petal Runner is probably the pinkest game I've ever seen. Karma, The Dark World. A lot of horror games this year, huh? The visuals are pretty great in this one. UFO 50. I'm torn on this one. 50 games and you're telling me they're not going to feel like mini games? My skepticism is at an all-time high, and the only thing keeping me from giving this a no is that the lead developer is the guy who made Spelunky, and he deserves at least a little bit of faith, I guess. Hey Koira, I'll play your gorgeous looking game, but if that puppy dies, I'm refunding the game. You know, I think I played a game like this on Miniclip once. I like the idea behind it, and I think the puzzle game enthusiasts are going to like Arranger, but I don't think it's for me. Zoocosis. This one's looking pretty great. Yet another horror game, but goddamn, I'm digging the vibes on this one. Also, I'm like 90% sure that's John Goodman voicing the boss character, and that would be a lot of fun. I like that kind of stuff. The developer of this game promised me the most stupid game I'd see all day. We had hard competition, but you know what? They absolutely delivered. Hello Again is a time loop game. The trick to getting these types of games right is to somehow make the game not tedious, which kind of goes against the core principle of a time loop. Tom, the Post Girl, has only intrigued me due to how bizarre some of the imagery was. I hope it's not something where the novelty of it runs out very quickly. Day of the Devs. Honestly, nothing really jumped out at me this year, which kind of sucks, but the showcase wasn't bad though. I kind of enjoyed watching it, so I think I'll go B-. Devolver. You never really know what to expect with Devolver, but somehow I always end up being surprised. Cult of Lamb is getting a local co-op announcement. Yes, thank you. Sounds good. The Crush House. Both times I saw this game pop up, it teased something sinister going on, but it's playing its cards close to its chest, which I like. Due to it being a Devolver published game, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Alright, so this is like the 10th supremely well animated trailer that leads into a game that barely resembled what came before. And don't get me wrong, Tenjutsu looks great, but maybe all of these studios like pooled the marketing budget they use to make these like sick-ass trailers together and make like a cool movie or a show or something. There's so much well-directed animation this year, and it's kind of wild. Talos Principle DLC, I'm sure it'll be great. Maybe I should actually play one of these games. This game is called Flash Kickers, and it really should have just been called Kicks. I think Kicks is a better name. I'm not going to hold it against the game because it looks pretty sick. Man, is Heart Machine ever going to miss with their art design? You guys are like 4 out of 4 with Possessors. It's almost unfair that you can consistently make games that look so fucking gorgeous, man. I'm a simple man. I just want someone in my life that looks at me like this guy looks at Volvi. Alright, Devolver Digital, take your fucking A and I'll see you next year. It's time to enter the future. Future game show. Did that sheep just eat sand? Bogdan's Cross is what we are starting with today, and I'm a little mixed on this one. Gorgeous art, but not really any gameplay to see here, or if there is, it's probably not that great. First Dwarf is a survival game about a dwarf in a mech suit, and also has some kind of base building defense mechanics. It looks pretty cool. Nobody Wants to Die, no game, no hypeness, but I think it's a first-person narrative game, so maybe these shots were actual gameplay. Who knows? Detective Dotson. I'm going to say this one is going to be mixed. I really liked the style of some of this trailer, but anytime it showed gameplay, it looked a little rough. Nobody likes it when trailers do the whole content creators play the game thing, so please stop it. InSync. It doesn't do good. DDS2 looks like an asset flip game. Sorry, not sorry. Star Invaders looks like a single player version of Battle Vision Network. Not that I'd want to pit these games against each other, but Star Invaders does look a little bit better in my opinion. Metroidvanias have seemed to make a pretty big comeback over the last few years. Clockwork Ambrosia is another one of them, but yeah, it looks good. Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection is a no from me. Art style looks good, but the gameplay looks like it's a tech demo. Parcel Core's finally got a release date. I'm really looking forward to this one, so I'm excited. I'm glad this one's got a release date so I can scratch that off my list. Alright, so I wasn't going to talk about the whole Netflix games thing going on throughout the Summer Games Fest, but we got a sizzle reel of a bunch of games that are going to be on their service, and a few of them just look like those fake games you see in ads on like Facebook or something. It looks real. Some of them looked awful. Something about the camera and the movement in Relic First Guardian looked off. The Operator, not my type of thing, and the only reason I'm bringing this game up is I had this weird thought like while watching the trailer. Like, what if this wasn't actually a game and was just like the FBI getting people to solve their own like cold cases? Prototype gameplay, Kickstarter, Deliver Us Home, what even are you? I'm getting old school GTA vibes from the Precinct, but other than seeing this dude inhale a whole ass sub in one frame, I'm not really impressed. Motor Doom. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater combined with Vampire Survivors to make something probably not as good as either. Sacrifier. I have to say that I'm kind of blown away by the art style of many games shown this year, but if you're watching this video on your second monitor or using this video to like go to sleep to, like please look at this video. Like, it's not often the blending of 3D backgrounds and 2D sprites like really works, but this game looks absolutely gorgeous. Goat Simulator, Multiverse of Nonsense. I mean, sure, just like the media it's parodying, I think the well is going to run dry after you tackle something like the multiverse. Eric Scholl is a stealth game with some seriously impressive facial animation. I've never heard of the studio that's actually making this game, but I think this might just be one to look out for. Run from Mummies is on the polar opposite of that spectrum with potentially the least impressive animations I've seen, but somehow still looks like it could be fun. Alright, Dustborn, questionable facial animations, extremely bad timing on character line delivery, and the overall pacing of the scene from the game felt very off. Based on this trailer, I do not want to play this game. The premise is intriguing, and had I seen a more refined part of the game, I reckon I would have been a lot nicer to this one, but based on what I see here, it's a no from me. Enter the Chronosphere is a turn-based bullet hell game. That is a super cool idea, and ooh, it's made in Australia, so it must be good then. New Mata did not grab me. There was some cool atmospheric stuff going on, but as soon as I saw a little bit of the gameplay, I was kind of immediately put off. I really love Hotline Miami, but Sonokuni did not look good. And I wasn't sure if it was just because making a game trailer based on this kind of game was difficult, so I went back and looked at the trailer for the first Hotline Miami, and yeah, the trailer for the original one wasn't great, but I still vibed with that one more. So I won't write this game off, but the art style is a bit whack as hell. So, Eternal Strands. Loved everything I was seeing, but not what I was hearing. I honestly couldn't tell you a thing about any of the narration going on over the trailer. It just kind of sounded generic, so this is a hesitant yes from me. Oh hey, Starship Troopers, I remember you. This was one of the very first game reviews I ever did on this channel. I don't envy the development team that is working on this game, and while this game offers a completely different style of game to Helldivers 2, the Starship Troopers tone and style was done much better by that game. This game isn't the best, but it's still pretty fun, and I don't want to see it die, and I'm glad that people it's still being actively developed on. The casting of Frank Stone looks alright. I think it's another one of those interactive movie type games, but every time the trailer mentioned it was connected to Dead by Daylight, I got a little less and less interested in the game. So you couldn't get the rights to Crash, or Rayman, or Donkey Kong. Nico de Rico is certainly one of the most derivative games I've seen so far, but the name certainly isn't. Look, I'm kind of shitting on this game, but I really do want to play it. Bodycam is supposedly the first photorealistic multiplayer game, and I mean, some of it looks pretty realistic, but it looks super janky to play. The Future Game Show decided to end on a teaser that Woodrunner Games, who are a new studio, are working on a game and it has a frog. I bet that next year when I do a recap of this event, I'm not going to remember this at all. So I'm going to leave this here as a reminder for myself and delete the name of the studio from my script when I'm done with this, making it, and I'll see if I remember it next year. Future Game Show, I'm gonna give this showcase a B. I think that's what I gave it last year. I feel like the quality of games we got was very similar and the presentation was also more or less the same. And look, if they keep doing it like this, I'm still going to keep tuning in every year because there is a lot of good stuff here. So, are you sick of the future yet? Well, I hope not, because we have the future of play, and what the fuck is this? So we started off Future of Play with Abyss X Zero, which sports a retro throwback PlayStation 1 kind of graphical style game. And I'm digging this one. The game kind of gives off like it's going to be a rough gem kind of vibe. Zodiac XX Leo is, it's not for me. Battlesuit Aces, not to be confused with Battle Aces, the RTS from before, is a card game. And the only reason I brought it up was because it's kind of funny that their names are just so similar. Yooka-Laylee is getting a remaster, or, well, the Steam store calls it more than a remaster. I'm kind of interested to see how this one goes, seeing as the first one kind of didn't blow anyone's minds. This is A Date with Death, or lo-fi hip-hop beats to advertise the Kickstarter for the DLC of your game too. I've actually never seen a Kickstarter for DLC before, and I mean, the original game is overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and the Kickstarter has like raised 8 times its goal by the time of writing the script, so I mean, some people like this and want this, so alright. Lock Digital actually looks kind of fun for what it is. I know a lot of people who dig this kind of like word game deal, so Croakwood. So with cute animal-based games, dogs and cats always seem to be the most popular choices for these, and I get that. But why are frogs the third place animal? Like, where did this sudden love of frogs come from? Like, over the last couple of years, I'm starting to see a lot more frog games. Like, has this always been a thing, or have I just been oblivious to the massive frog game market? There is something primitive in our brains that triggers, like when we watch marbles rolling down tracks. All Cozy Marbles needs to be is a user-friendly and intuitive experience, and it will be one of the best rated games on Steam. You watch. Ah, Chicken House game, I remember you. I was looking for a release date from you, and Q2 is almost over, so you're running out of time on that. A flying ship city builder game sounds pretty cool, but when I saw it get attacked, I had like huge haunting flashbacks to that one Gorillaz music video. Flying around and destroying cities in a flying city looks pretty fun though. Dungeon Crawler, cute name. Awesome gameplay premise. Hopefully the execution is less infuriating than, you know, real life claw machines. Actually, a lot of the ones that you find in video games as a mini game, they're also pretty infuriating too. So it just needs to be less infuriating than that. Node. I can see this one being extremely infuriating, but super satisfying. I love the premise, but I can see the trial and error tedium that could come with it. I'm torn, but I'm gonna put my belief in this one. Geno Kids might be alright. It showed a lot of variety, but I think mid might be the way to go. Alright, I'm sick of the future. I'm giving this one a C-. Not much interesting in this one, but at least it didn't go for very long. And even though the presenter surrounding the trailers was awful, they weren't there for a long time, and they only showed up like 3 times, I think. I think we're just going to move on. Wholesome Games. Supposedly 70 of them, which is down from the 80 last year, so alright, let's do this. Starting up with Mismatch. This is kind of like that mobile game 2048 if it were an RPG. Caravan Sandwich looks fine. Ete, I talked about this one last year, but I'm still on the fence on if I think I would like it or not. I don't think I would. Discounty makes me think about my real job too much, and I really do not like that. The Playdate is a gadget that I somehow keep hearing about, and by all means it seems like a neat little novelty, but for $200 US, no thanks. Squeakross is a game about making furniture out of cheese-based number puzzles. Critter Cafe, your game looks alright, but please don't advertise character customization as a feature when I can see 5 out of 7 people in this one shot with the exact same hairstyle. Your creature's eyes also like remind me of pop vinyls. That's not a minus against your game, I just kind of think it's funny. Ela, a Frosty guide looks great. There is a demo I'll probably play, but it needs a Kickstarter. I mean, this game looks very far along based on the trailer, and I'm not saying it doesn't need a Kickstarter campaign, but you have a demo, a Steam page, and a second game on Steam under your developer's banner with a half-finished store page. I can't not see that as a red flag. Dungeons of Hinterberg. Okay, this one might be cheating because I have already played and reviewed a demo for this game a couple of weeks ago. It's cool to see that the puzzles seem to evolve a little more as the game goes on based on this trailer. Expect a full review of this game in mid-July. If the developers of this game are watching, I'd love a review key. Not that I expect that to happen, but you know, I gotta shoot my shot. I talked briefly about this frog game last year, and I mean very briefly, but it's out now, so I can scratch that off the list. Pool looks like if that mobile game 2048 was a pool game. instead. On Your Tail looks okay. The game kind of pivoted halfway into the trailer into some kind of other genre, and I'm just gonna keep my eye on it, I reckon. Tracks of Thought is a bit cute. Not the first game about conflict resolution this Summer Games Fest, but it has the potential as long as the writing is good. Later Bunny looked cute, the game. I'm not talking about the bunny itself, that'd be weird, right? Tiny Tires looks like a cool retro throwback to Micro Machines. I love Micro Machines, but Codemasters haven't really been doing anything with the property for quite a while that's worth playing. And that's it for Wholesome Games. I know I skipped over a lot in this one, but this conference is part of the reason I just decide to pick and choose what games I talk about, because if I talked about every single game shown, I'd have lost my goddamn mind. I'm not sure if it was because I was sick of watching trailers at this point or what was going on, but I really, really dislike this showcase. I think the quality has definitely decreased from last year's, and I don't want to be mean because a lot of the games here are passion projects with positive messages and vibes behind them, and I'm giving this showcase a D+, but here's what I'm going to do. Just because I didn't like the showcase this year, I'm not going to dismiss the effort put into the showcase or the games this year. So if you feel like you need a wholesome or chill game in your life, or are at all interested in some of the more niche and positive games out there, then go to the Wholesome Games website. I'll put the link in the description, and check out the full list of games from their showcase. They are a force for good, and I think it would be super disingenuous to not at the very least point anyone who watches this in the right direction to check out some of these games. The Xbox started off with Black Ops 6, and look, I've barely touched a Call of Duty game outside of Warzone in years, and I don't plan to again anytime soon, but this trailer absolutely slapped. Hell, maybe I might even play this one, seeing as it's day one Game Pass and I can spare the 120 odd gig on my hard drive, or whatever nonsense size this game is going to be. Doom, the Dark Age. Do I even need to say anything about this one? This looks awesome. Man, I knew what this game was while watching the trailer, but I just couldn't think of its name the entire time. State of Decay 3, no game, no hype though. Dragon Age, I don't think I've ever played any of these games before. There was no gameplay in this trailer, but there is a longer gameplay look somewhere out there on YouTube, a 20-minute kind of gameplay preview of the start of the game, and it looks fine, but I don't know what to expect from a Dragon Age game or what people's expectations are of this. Starfield DLC, hopefully it'll be less mid than the rest of the game. I could never have predicted that Fallout 76 would have a redemption, and I'm sure this Skyline Valley DLC will be good for the people who played the game. I'm just gonna continue avoiding this series like the plague though. Expedition 33 looks pretty fantastic. I wonder how long it'll take for me to get sick of the camera swinging about like this. I know I praised the animation of the trailer for South of Midnight last year, but having the character from this game have the same kind of lower frame animation when the rest of the world and camera is at 60 frames per second, it looks weird. I'm not saying it looks off, but it just doesn't look right. I cannot stress how strange it is to see a trailer for a World of Warcraft expansion in an Xbox showcase. This is such a strange world we live in. Metal Gear was in the PlayStation showcase last year. It's nice to see this game in a more real state, but I will forever hold my skepticism of Konami products until they release. I was getting God of War vibes from Flintlock way before it stated its mission of the game was to kill all gods. It was nice. I mean, not killing all the gods, but I liked how stylistic the trailer was, but I'm not that impressed with what I saw. Age of Mythology remake? Say less, fam. Oh, this game is Perfect Dark? You know, I never played the original, but I really like the look of this one. I don't have much of an opinion about the Diablo 4 DLC, but it's absolutely criminal that Blizzard can just make cinematics that look this good. It is unreal. Fable continued to show us not that much. These trailers are super charming though. Playground Games are a good studio. No game, no hype, but I'm still betting that this game is going to be good. Fragpunk, oh, this looks cool, but do we want to take bets on how horribly monetized this game is going to be? So this game also does the low frame rate characters against a 60 frames per second background thing, but it looks much, much better than South of Midnight. Someone should check in on the developers of Mixtape and make sure they haven't overdosed on 80s nostalgia. I was pretty unimpressed with the Indiana Jones trailer up until this point.
Toons! Choo choo! Choo choo!
And then the trailer became a lot of fun and I was kind of brought back into it, so I think this one will be fun. It does feel very Indiana Jonesy, which is good. Fallen Feathers. I think we blew past our cool art style dark fantasy action souls quota a few showcases ago, so sorry Fallen Feathers, you're a bit late to the party. I think I said this last year, but Obsidian generally make pretty great games, and even though that extended gameplay look earlier this year didn't look amazing, I still think Avowed is going to be good. Atomfall is giving me like Far Cry meets Atomic Heart vibes. Just gonna be leaning a bit more towards mid until I see more about this game. Sorry. Stalker 2 is a game that I feel like has been delayed like 5 to 10 times. The gameplay looks promising, and I'm hoping that they can stick to the release date because this one really looks good and I want to get my hands on that one. So we end the Xbox conference on Gears of War E-Day, which is going to be a prequel of the first Gears game. Nice to see the Locusts back, nice to see the Marcus and Dom duo back. No gameplay, but I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult to get that wrong. I mean, it's Gears of War after all. And you know what? The Xbox showcase was pretty good. Huge lineup of games and no real stinkers from what I could see. This one isn't the running for the best showcase of the bunch this Summer Games Fest, but here's the thing. In my last video, I asked for a Crash Twinsanity remake from Xbox, or I would tear them a new one. And I know that was a bit of an unrealistic ask of them, but I would have settled for anything Crash Bandicoot, to be honest with you, but you didn't do it. So, Xbox leadership, do you want to explain the big Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin-sized elephant in the room? You want to give us a guarantee that any one of these studios making these games in this showcase will have any job security if they do or do not deliver on the insane quality of things that were shown here? Or how about a certification of quality that we don't get another Redfall in our hands? Because if anyone, and I mean anyone, QA tested Redfall, then there would have been signs that that game was not only not ready to be released, but should not have had a gigantic marketing push behind it that it did. Redfall shows us that either the leadership at Xbox was either A, incompetent enough to not check on the state of that game, or B, willfully ignorant about the state of the game. But forget about that, what about Halo? Like, how the fuck do you mismanage your flagship IP for over a decade? Halo Infinite was the first Halo campaign that met my expectations for a Halo game for over 13 years, and you still screwed the entire game up by your greedy ass multiplayer monetization and lack of planned content for it. And yeah, you know, Xbox Studios didn't develop the game, but they published it, so they should have known. Oh yeah, don't forget no Forge or campaign co-op on release. Oh, also, remember when the Master Chief Collection was launched on the Xbox One and the multiplayer was broken for like a year? Remember that? What kills me the most is that this company has the power and potential to be so much greater than it is. I mean, look at this showcase. This was good. There is a lot of passion and craft being put into the games in this showcase. I do not believe for a second that it's because of Xbox Game Studios. So while the Xbox showcase gets an A+ from me, the actual Xbox studio itself can take a fucking F. And yeah, Game Pass is great, but the goodwill that has bought you has run dry. You guys want to tell us that you care about games? Well then, fucking prove it. Make gaming better, and start by making gaming better for the people who make games. Do you think a bunch of stressed ass developers are going to be putting in their best work if they think they're going to be fired the next day? Look, you're the company with the biggest bankroll in the industry, so do something with it. OTK, like last year, I wasn't actually going to watch this expo, but this was going on outside my room all day on Wednesday, and I had to just kind of retreat away from the room my PC was in for the day because of the noise. OTK wasn't officially part of Summer Games Fest this year, like last year, but you know, whatever. I did it last year, I'll do it this year again, I guess. So before the show actually started, we got a few trailers for games we probably aren't supposed to care about, because look at this. 2/3 of the screen are just gone from this shitty interface, and even some of the information in one of the trailers got blocked at one point, so I was just like, what are you doing here? During this time, we saw a couple of trailers. Skyward Arena looks good. Kitsune looks okay, but the man talking in the trailer was extremely cringe. Nimrod's Guncraft Survivor. The Blockhead walked so you could run, but I don't think I want to become a Nimrod. Thanks for asking though. Evercore Heroes is back with one of the worst sound mixed trailers I've ever heard. You know what? I thought this trailer was going to be an outlier, but little did I know there would be more to come. Warden's Wheel. Don't worry boys, we have Risk of Rain at home. Mousebusters is an eldritch horror mouse game, and you know what? It's got me pretty interested. Astromeda looks like an astronaut Undertale, but I'm kind of intrigued by this one because it feels like it gets the tone correct. Sugardew Island looks like just another one of those farming sim games. What the fuck is Glitch Spanker? This shit looks wild as hell. Chef RPG was really bringing the vibes. I think the vibes have got me. I'm sold on this one. Alright, so now the actual event has started, and by all metrics this opening should have been cringe, but I kind of low-key completely fucked with it. I appreciate the upfront schedule of the show, especially for an event this long, because this event was long, but separating into genres means an average viewer can kind of jump around a bit to like what genres they're interested in, which I thought was pretty cool. That being said, we started off with adventure games, and Lucky Tower Ultimate was not the game to start us off with. Athenian Rhapsody is another Undertale-like RPG. It's weird that we've had 2 of them already so quickly, but supposedly there is going to be a lot of branching storylines in this one. Wait and see on this one. Solarpunk was looking like another one of those farming sim games until it wasn't, and now I'm completely on board. World's Worst Handyman looks like a bit of fun. The OTK members playing it hurt it more than helped it by playing it though. Dark and Darker is a game I don't really like, but I know a lot of people who are hyped for this one, and this one actually launched on Steam a few days after this conference, and it is sitting at a mixed on Steam, so that's a bit of an oof. Rah rah boom. Nah, no thanks. Combo Devils is a platform fighter. I'm not loving the art style, but I kind of dig how the gameplay is looking. Big Boy has some big boys in its trailer, and then a slew of some not very big boys. Smack Studio. Okay, this one's got me really interested. Another platform fighter, but it's more like a tool that you use to like create your own custom like maps and fighters. It's apparently been out for a few years, but I've never heard of it. I think this is an extremely cool looking game though. You can't convince me that this dude from the Mushroom Company isn't just like high as fuck. Like, he is sweating up a storm on the stage here. Alright, Rumble Club. I've actually played this game and it kind of sucked, but it didn't suck as hard as the technical difficulties that abruptly threw us into Atomic Picnic and this subsequent close-up of this rabbit waifu's feet. Look, you guys know what you're doing with it. Atomic Picnic looks much better than it did last year, and I'm definitely going to try and get onto one of the playtests for this one because I'm actually really interested. Claws and Chaos. I kind of like this one. Looks a bit like that South Park mobile game, like Phone Destroyer, which was surprisingly decent mobile game. This one looks alright too, but I think it'll be a bit mid. Dwarven Realms looks extremely unfinished. I have certainly seen this fog stock effect somewhere. Akatorial. Look at that art style. Holy shit, I love it. So Screenbound has been doing the rounds for a little while now on like the internet and social media, and then it did the rounds on like every major showcase in the Summer Games Fest this year. It's an insanely creative premise, but I'm sick to death of seeing this game now. Foul Damage. Cool premise, but the execution looks a little too simplistic. Paperclay should by all means be up my alley, but something is off and I just cannot place why. This was probably the only time the OTK crew made a game look better by actually playing it though. Temtem Swarm looks cool, if not a little creatively bankrupt. Vindified is a little too edgy for my taste. I can handle edgy, but this is more of a nothing personnel kid kind of energy. Freak Flipped is something that I feel like I'd have to play on a burner Steam account if I ever bought it, so nobody ever knew that I was playing it. Rogue Labyrinth looks fun. Demo is out. Might try it. Be My Horde is probably the most unique take I've seen on the Vampire Survivors clone so far. I think this game only works though if the minion battling is really good. Cozy Dungeons. Oh no, this trailer wasn't mixed properly either. No thanks. Just Crow Things could go either way. I'm not convinced by what I saw, so I'm just going to chuck this one in the middle. Astral Throne. I'm definitely digging this one. I get that the art style is a homage to like Final Fantasy Tactics, but I kind of don't love that aspect about the game. But the gameplay looks solid. Control Alt Deal has got me sold on its premise, but it has to do something interesting with it. Pull Stay. What the actual fuck? No, really, what the actual... what is this game? The Bazaar had a neat trailer, but I don't know what this game is. It's a card game. That's a little disappointing. Anotria, The Last Song. It's no secret that I'm not a fan of Souls-likes. This looks like it could be a good budget title, but don't forget to pre-order to get 3 days early access and a bunch of shit that makes the game easy to play, because Souls-like enjoyers sure do like easy games. Haunted Paws, something is off about this one. It might have something to do with the stilted animation or the gameplay just looking but I don't think it's going to live up to what it's trying to do. Unfollowed didn't show much other than some generic jump scare shit. Nah. Finding Frankie. Ooh. Look, I want this game to be good, but I don't think it will be. You know what? I was eating my lunch as Sabaros came on, so, you know, thanks for that. Thanks for making me feel guilty about my chicken burger. Once Human doesn't quite look real. Alright, so this game showed up in like 4 different showcases, but I'm just going to talk about it here. The game seems ambitious. In the future game show, there was an extended look at all the features and mechanics of the game, and it's stretching my believability that all of the features in this game will work and just run well and have like any depth to them, because there was a lot there. Beneath, Yeah, maybe. Wild Bastards is a no thanks. I know people like these games, but I just kind of don't see it. Betrayed is basically Trouble in Terrace Town from Gmod, but with the wackiness dialed up to 11. I'd be interested to see how this would work, as like Trouble in Terrace Town didn't really work without people enforcing the rules, but this game might be just so wacky that nobody's going to give a shit. The boomer shooter resurgence has been an interesting one. I'm surprised that developers are still finding ways to make like unique looking games from what should be a completely dead genre. Wizardom, it looks good. Low Life Forms is a hard no from me. Legacy's trailer looked strange, like it was trying too hard to show off certain things but not what it actually was. I know there's world PvP and crafting, but I actually had to go and look it up so I knew what it was. So we're ending off with Micoverse. The fact that this is a VR chat Second Life type of game isn't what bothers me about this one, but like, you guys remember those asset flip crypto scam games that came out during the height of NFTs? They looked like this, and I'm not saying that this is one, but looking at all of this is kind of bothering me in a way that I can't really put into words. And no, it's not because of the anime girl grinding on the Pepe frog. For some reason, I can accept that. OTK. So I'll be the first to admit I do not follow any of these content creators, and your enjoyment of this expo as a whole will hinge on if you like this group of people, because otherwise it's kind of unbearable. But there was a ton of variety in the game shown, and most of them have demos, and giving grants to indie devs is a really cool thing to do, but this event was pretty hard to watch otherwise. If you're not a fan of these content creators, I just recommend watching the trailers independently of this event. But I will give OTK a C, just because they were doing a lot of cool things, but none of them were, you know, any of the gameplay segments. I'm kind of glad that after all these years, the PC gaming show just hasn't changed. I mean, it's still a little cringe, but it's like comfort cringe. It's nice to know that like every year, Day 9 is going to be saying some really terribly written lines, but it is comforting. So PC gaming show started off with 3 world premieres. The first was this cutesy farming survival game, Among the Wild. I'm getting some Power World vibes from this one, but it's being a little bit more subtle about its like dark undertones, which I like. The second world premiere was this city sim, but I don't know if you can call it that because it's all on asteroids. So I guess we can just call Starbirds an asteroid sim. Is that a thing? The third game is definitely the most interesting of the bunch, with Lawnvale, which looks to be an open world sandbox RPG, and it looks like a lot of fun. Ale Abbey. The alcoholic in me says that this is going to be great, while the gamer in me says that it's just going to be okay. I watched this showcase in the early morning after a big night, so unfortunately this one just kind of lost out to timing. Streets of Rogue 2. I've played a lot of the first game and I'm super excited for this one. If you're a fan of games like Spelunky where like the whole world is playing by the same rules you are, then I think you should give the first Streets of Rogue a go. I haven't been giving out many no's so far, and this game doesn't look the worst, but the voice acting in the trailer for Wonder Stars was really rough, and the gameplay didn't look like much either. Southfield is a game I have not much interest in, but I reckon that Let's Game It Out will make a good video on it when it comes out. This is the third trailer I have seen for Steelseed over the last year, and I still don't like a single thing that I've seen from this game. Stormgate looks like it is in a much better shape than it was last year, but if you'd show me footage of this and Battle Aces, then I probably wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between the two. Mars Tactics looks great, but maybe a bit too dense for my smooth brain. But as long as I can save scum, then I'd probably give it a go. Sumerian 6 is one of those rare cases where I feel like the writing and the voice acting made the game look much better than, you know, what it was. Sulphur is a game I've been meaning to check out for a while. I hear good things about it, but I just don't see it from the trailer. Phantom Line is a co-op horror shooter. Co-op horror is a genre I feel like still has a lot of life left in it, especially for like straight up horror games, because Lethal Company and Content Warning, they're good, but they're also just like a little bit more comedic games. Like straight up horror is rarely ever done right, because it's like hard to keep a scary game for that long, especially in co-op. I made a video about this concept if you're interested. There is a limited playtest for this one, but I'll doubt I'll get the time to get around to this one before it goes away. So I'm gonna go yes on this one, just purely because I was digging the atmosphere. though I do feel like the odds are stacked against it. Killing Floor 3. I have put an insane amount of hours into the first 2 games. Look, I predict this game will be fantastic, but have some like horrible monetization implemented into it about a year after its release. The graphical upgrade between 2 and 3 doesn't look like it's going to be as much between like 1 and 2, but it looks like the gameplay is changing quite a bit for this one. Copa City is not a football manager, but a football stadium and event manager. I don't know why this one speaks to me. Like, I don't even like football. Oh, well, I like football, just not this kind of football. So if my flowers in my garden started singing and then a tornado proceeded just to like take them all away, I'd call that a gift from God. There is a really great amount of creativity going on here, but I just hate it so much. Look, Tempo will probably be good though. I'll just take the L if it's good. I Am Your Beast looks like a 3D Hotline Miami. The trailer music had me hyped and the gameplay looks hella fun. Man, Space Station 14 has been in development for like forever. It's certainly got the potential to be one of those long-lasting community-driven games with a lot of moddable content, like similar to Gmod. I can definitely see that happening for this game. Pretty sure I highlighted this Odenfall game last year and I said it was going to be a yes. It still looks good. I would have liked to have seen a release date for this one though. I tend to skip games that are already out in some form or another and focus on reveals and stuff that isn't out yet, but Core Keeper is actually a really good survival game and it's definitely worthy of people's time. So I'm excited for more content for this game. I was more than willing to skip Strident and then suddenly this dude like blew up a moose with a rocket launcher. Oh my god, my eyes. Enceladus, like why would you make something that looks like this? Oh my god. I liked the trailer for Death Sprint 66, but I feel like it was shot in a way to hide some big flaw with the game. I do want to try it though, but only out of like pure curiosity to see if I'm right. There are so many things wrong with the concept of a motorized broomstick. I don't even want to get into it, but if you want to make a game where you like do delivery gigs on it, build a home and date people, then go for it, Crescent County, because I'll probably play you. Cat Quest 3 looks like it could be fun, but unfortunately I'm a dog person. I saw Star Trucker last year and went yes, just based on the premise alone. They really bought the vibes. Oh my god, I'm losing my fucking mind. But they really brought the vibes with this trailer and I'm really excited about it. 83. Oh boy, what the fuck was this? Look, I know it says pre-alpha down the bottom there, but I did not see anything worth showing here. Like either the game is like this, which makes me worried, or it's not ready to show yet. The cherry on top was this black screen and white text and a Steam logo telling us to wishlist the game, which I know I could make in probably a minute. Shit, let's see if I can do it. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Tactical Breach Wizards actually made me laugh, and it probably shouldn't have, but it did, and on purpose too. So I really like tactical games like this, so I'm in. Alright, be real with me. How many times have you watched Spirited Away? Like, there's Inspired By, and then there's this. And why does your game look so different to the animation shown and feel less Spirited Away like? And why do you need a Kickstarter for this? Didn't you guys just release a game like 3 days ago? What's going on here? Every Day We Fight is totally not XCOM. What would you make you think it looks like XCOM? Yeah, Island of the Winds, you do not need to tell me that your game is a work in progress. I can clearly see that by looking. I think I saw Windblown somewhere else, but we'll talk about it here in case I missed it. It looks great. Co-op action roguelike from the creator of Dead Cells should be more than enough to sell anyone on this game. And that's it for the PC Gaming Show. Par for the course, better than last year, but getting to the end of this showcase felt like a really big slog. The quality was getting just super questionable towards the end, so we'll give this one a C+. Moving on to the Latin America showcase, which promises us another 70 games. So we will be picking and choosing with this one, especially because the game we started off with, I just didn't want to talk about. So we're instead going to start off with the first game that interested me, which was Goblin Cleanup, which is a game about cleaning up a dungeon after a hero has swept through it. It feels very Viscera cleanup detail, but it actually looks like it could be a bit of fun. One Card One Shot Mafia is looking to be one of the more creative card-based games I've seen throughout the entire Summer Games Fest. I'm not quite sold on it, but I am intrigued by it. I have seen so many cutesy chill games this year, and I have no idea why, but Hidden in My Paradise got me. Like, this was cute and I kind of loved it. If any of my friends are watching this, then they know that I'm going to say that Mark of the Deep is absolutely up my alley. Acro, based in the Untamed Frontier where people call each other bro. I kind of like what I'm seeing though. Runa looks like something I'd like if the trailer would like stop cutting to a new scene every 2 seconds and let me get just like a little bit of an extended look at gameplay. Slime Heroes looks okay. I think the fact that it has co-op will make me more likely to try it out someday. Among the Stars showed up with a fantastic animated trailer and was probably the only game that didn't disappoint when it jumped to gameplay because the game's art style, it looks really, really great. Hey, Dispelite, it's nice to see this one again. I was hoping to get a release date off this trailer, but oh well, a vague 2024 release will just have to do. Sky Oceans is a big maybe. The premise is cool, and I don't mind that it's turn-based strategy. I just would have liked to see a bit more of what the story and writing was going to be like in this game. You know what? I thought it'd been a while since I saw a trailer that defied any rational thought or being. So this is the Cabbage Effect, and yes, that's its name, and it looks like an absolute nightmare. It'll either be really good or really horrible. I'm just gonna go with good because it's called the Cabbage Effect. Like, how do you come up with a name like that? I feel like Dreamsweeper, it just gets me. Soul Quest looks super satisfying to play, but a Kickstarter? Codex Eternal Eclipse is another one of those 2D sprites against a 3D background kind of games that looks stunning and like, yeah, just inject that shit into my veins. Tenebrae Somnia is an 8-bit horror game that has live action cutscenes in it. How well this will work, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's a solid and creative idea. Stay With Me, I think was meant to be scary, but it was actually really, really, really funny. Look, I'm sorry. The internet has just like ruined Aliens for me. That I don't think I'm gonna find Aliens scary ever again. A Liminal Spaces just completely played out yet, because like Dreamcore just doesn't seem to think so. A chess-based, turn-based, card-based dark RPG. I shouldn't be, but I am kind of really digging this game. We ended off the showcase on Mariachi Legends, which was just oozing with style. I'm not quite sure if it's up my alley, but I will be keeping an eye on it. I also don't know if the live action parts of this trailer were just for the trailer or also a part of the game, but I kind of dig it. So that brings us to the end of the Latin American showcase. I think I'm going to give it a B-. There was a ton of variety in terms of the games that were shown here, and I like that there were no like large 10-minute like extended looks at games that nobody really wanted to see. Like, it was all quick and to the point, and I loved that. Whew, we're almost at the end, so let's take a look at some games from women-led studios. Yes, Your Grace Snowfall is the sequel to Yes, Your Grace, of course, which was actually a really well-received game that came out in 2020. I think it'd be stupid to bet against this one. It'll probably be good. The narrator in Sunnyside claimed that the cooking system in the game would be far more intricate than what we're used to, while someone was just putting rice and water into a rice cooker. Look, I don't doubt their claims, but the timing of that it couldn't have been funnier if you tried. So Phoenix Springs showed up 3 or so times during the other showcases, and I almost talked about it each time. And then we got to this showcase where the lead artist talked about how she's been drawing the art for this game for 7 years, and I kind of felt really bad. So yeah, Phoenix Springs, it doesn't look like it's for me, mostly because it's a point-and-click adventure game, but the art does look good. And I feel like that level of dedication is definitely shown on the screen. A neo-noir cat detective game. So Albert Wild Quantum PI certainly looks unique. If it's for the better or worse, though, I couldn't tell you. Bubblegum Galaxy was intriguing me right up until the gameplay of it started. Munch looks super fucking metal. Like, I know someone who would love this game, and you know what? I would too. This looks great. Urban Jungle. You know, I can barely muster up the energy to decorate my own room IRL, let alone a digital one. So maybe I just need to learn how, and this is the game that's going to do it. I'm gonna give Women-Led Games Showcase a C. I know I didn't talk about many of the games, but a lot of the big ones I had already talked about before. But the showcase was short, the trailers were good. Liana, who was the host, needs to do a little work on her hosting, but goddamn, I'm jealous of her room. Like, look at all this cool stuff. I'm getting off track. One of the biggest things that matters to me, like when it comes to these showcases, is pacing. The show was well paced, and there was no point that I just felt like skipping anything, nor did I feel like mentally drained by the end of it, which I certainly did by the end of some of these major showcases. Coming up to the last conference is Ubisoft Forward. Oh, I actually already talked about everything I wanted to talk about in the other conferences. Sweet, so I can just skip this shit then. F for fuck you, Ubisoft. Can you please just stop making these things? Like, this is definitely the one that was the most bloated and useless showcase that you've put on. Hey, thanks for watching this far. Or if you skipped straight to this part of the video, then welcome. So just to round up, our best conferences this year were easily Xbox and Devolver. And despite my huge Xbox rant, I do think that they showed off the best selection of games, and especially ones that I wanted to play. Devolver were doing their thing. It always works, and it's always such a breath of fresh air between all the like endless trailers and nonsense, and I'm glad that Devolver exists. Worst in show was easily Ubisoft, who went on to show almost nothing new, and anything new that they had already shown in like the other showcases. The only stuff that they had to show in their own showcase was DLC for their existing games. Look, it's no secret that I don't like Ubisoft as a company, but even I put aside my current grievances with Xbox to say that their showcase was good. I just don't understand how a company like Ubisoft that consistently churns out mediocre products is still so profitable or relevant. Alright, so let's get into my best games from the show this year. Starting off, Hyper Light Breaker. I'm just going to get this one out of the way quick. I put this in my best in show last year, and look, I just want to play it ASAP. Heart Machine's art style is consistently jaw-dropping, and they're currently 2 for 2 for brilliant games, so hopefully Hyper Light Breaker makes 3 out of 3. But we aren't done though, because they also revealed their 4th game, Possessors, which also looks amazing. Look, Heart Machine might be one of the best indie game studios out there. Put these games on your radar. Some of you might be put off by the fact that I'm putting Astrobot as one of my best in show games, but did you look at this? This game looks amazing. Like, I really want to play this game, but unfortunately I don't have a PS5, so I'm just gonna have to wait and hope we get a PC port, but like, based on how PlayStation centric this game seems to feel, I think it's gonna be very unlikely.
My mixtapes bend others to my will.
From Beethoven and Dinosaur comes an adventure, a lifetime in the making. You're invited to go back in Mixtape.
There have been noise complaints.
Okay.
Mixtape shows us that it is definitely possible to like a game purely based off of vibes. Like, what's the gameplay going to be like? I kind of just have no clue. And normally that would be a turn-off. Maybe it's just because of how stylized the trailer is, or that it kind of looks like it might be more of an experience than a game. Like, either way, the trailer was so well made that I'm just kind of really hyped for this maybe game.
Few are worthy of the title you are about to receive.
Ezekiel, The dome is under attack. You must retrieve the Malcora. Give me the Malcora! No!
Sacrifier. This game really brought it with the art style. I was really loving the environments and the gameplay looked like it was just a fun twist on turn-based combat. I just hope that the game is long enough and stays this beautiful throughout the entire thing. Just so you guys don't accuse me of only being an indie game wanker.
Are you sure you want to investigate this, Indy?
I can't let this go. It could be the best kept secret in history.
I'll instead wank off Indiana Jones. The trailer alone feels very Indiana Jones. It feels very reminiscent of the old trilogy of movies. The gameplay, from what little we've seen, looks kind of fun. What sells me on this game is that it understands like the source material enough, and Machine Games have just done good work with the Wolfenstein franchise. I think they're more than up to the task of making a good Indiana Jones game. Crescent County. Yes, the motorized broomstick game. It's another one of those I just want to play the game just based off of the vibes, but the game itself looks really good, and I'm hoping that the world that they've shown is as expansive as it looks, and that the exploration is good, and, you know, also a motorized broomstick kind of sounds really fun to play around with. Doom: The Dark Ages. One of the weapons in this trailer, was a gun that used ground up skulls as ammo, and that just tells you everything that you need to know about this game. It's going to be Doom. It's almost definitely going to be good.
I'm not meant to be here. I'm a fighter. I'm meant to be in the arena, in combat. But instead, I'm out here in the middle of the woods, running a tea shop. It's not fighting, but it's peaceful. And what's weird is that I actually feel good. I'm happy. I can stop running now. I can stop running. This is good for me. I need to enjoy this. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy.
To end off our best in shows, we have Wanderstop. I think a lot of people may have slept on this one. Davey Reedon from Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide is writing and directing this game, and that is just more than enough for me. But everything from the sound design to the music and the voice acting in the trailer, it has me interested. And oh yeah, the music is composed by C418, who is the guy who did the original Minecraft music. I mean it when I say that this game is one to watch.
宇宙は危機に瀕している。巨大な悪が今ある全ての惑星の崩壊を引き起こしている。ツインスティックシューターアドベンチャーゲームで未来を救うことができるのは勇敢な戦士のグループだけだ。インディーゲームアクションの力、そして肉体。Ninja Garage presents The Cabbage Effect.
So the need to know more, this is kind of a list of games in the mid to positive category that have intrigued me, but I just kind of want to know a little bit more about them before I kind of put any full weight behind it. The Cabbage Effect, this takes out the weirdest game of the whole event. It was either this or Push and Pull, but it felt like the Cabbage Effect was just really going for it. And I appreciate that a game is just so unapologetically weird.
I think I was dreaming.
It wasn't a dream.
We were really transported to Mirrorland!
Infinity Nikki, like, I just don't know what to say about this one. Like, it's described as an open world dress-up adventure. From the PlayStation Store, it says that the game is online only, and it's also 5-player online. Like, why does every fact that I find about this game get me further away from an explanation of what it is? And why do I want to play it so bad? This might be like a curiosity kills the cat kind of situation with me. Like, I end up playing it and it's just like the fucking worst.
Soon she'll wake and paint again. Paint a new number, ticking down every year, one stroke. And every one of that age vanishes into nothingness. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again.
You mean we're the only ones left?
Even if we fail, we lay the trail for those who will come after. Right? We are Expedition 33.
Expedition 33, I really liked the look of this game, but I just want to get more of a look. It definitely piqued my curiosity, this one. This was a reveal trailer, and it's not going to be coming out until 2025, which could be anywhere from 7 months to 19 months. But it's certainly going to be on my list of games to keep an eye on, and the story itself feels very fresh and unique.
Atlas 1-1, this is Zeus. Do you copy? Over. We've detected the anomalous presence in the Iron Corridor area. Your goal is simple. Search and contain the anomaly. I repeat, search. Respond, Atlas.
Phantom Line. As I said before, co-op horror is a world that hasn't been fully tapped yet. I do want to see more just straight up horror co-op games, and I want to see them do weird and new things like this one seems to be doing.
Who's ready for a bit of fun then?
Killing Floor 3. So the reason this game is here and not in Best in Show is because it looks like they are really evolving how the game is going to be played this time around. More enemies and enemy variety sounds great, but this looks like the biggest overhaul to the core gameplay yet, and I just kind of have to get my hands on it before if I know it's going to be for the better or not.
Good luck, Agent.
I always knew I had an instinct. I could see the world differently. I thought it would be like any other mission. I was wrong. I had to lose everything before I could see. What this world was really hiding.
Perfect Dark. I was liking what I was seeing from this trailer, but when this guy got shot off a balcony, red flags just started flaring up for me. Like, when I see things like this in game trailers, I get this heavily scripted vibe from it, and my skepticism, like barriers, they just come up. Like, either this dude falling off the balcony was like completely scripted and not gameplay, or it is gameplay, in which case this NPC is going to like hang around this balcony like an idiot. So the event can happen and it's still like semi-scripted, if you know what I mean. So like everyone can like experience that thing happening. I mean, this could just be a thing that happens like around all guys that stand stand around all balconies, but like, I mean, this game isn't doing anything that hasn't been done before, but when I see gameplay that looks too perfect, I get a little cautious, and it's what I like to call the Watch Dogs effect. So moving on to our worst in shows, we're going to start off with Micoverse. I don't really know what to say. Like, even if what we're shown is what the game is going to be, I don't think it's going to be good. And like, that being said, I'm not the target demographic for this experience. And you know, this game raised $400,000 on Kickstarter, so there are people out there that want this. I just don't know why. 83, this was probably the most bizarrely terrible trailer of the showcase. There is literally a better one on the game's Steam page. Like, that could have just been used instead of what was shown. And if this was just a trailer to show off real gameplay, then nah, this wasn't the way to do it. Evercore Heroes, I actually think this game might be okay. It's just that it's a game that was supposed to be a live service that was tinkered and like kind of rebooted into being a different game, but the trailer itself should have just been better. Like, the sound mixing was awful, and if a studio of people can't mix or create a trailer better than just, you know, solo indie devs, then that's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign. Part of me wants to put down that mobile game with all the celebrities as a worst in show, but the trailer actually had some funny moments, and like, I know the game is going to be shit, but at least I was kind of entertained. The same cannot be said for Low Life Forms. This game does not look finished or even halfway started. The animations were stilted and low effort. The art style just looks like an unfocused mess. There was a lot of like changing of how it all looked, which just looked like terrible video filters. Look, the gameplay just doesn't look fun, and I do not want to play it. And I thought all of these things as I was watching it, and then when I looked it up, I also learned that it was just an NFT game on top of all that. So no, just no. Alright, so let's take a look at my predictions from the other week to see how well I did. And I got 24 out of 55 predictions correct, which is just a bit under half of them. I think I went wrong by predicting like best case scenarios for everything, like the biggest names and the biggest like reveals, and that was just, yeah, not the way to go. There were some weird things where some of the partners didn't show up, I don't think, like Atari, and I think Niantic didn't show up either. Like, I could have missed them, but I just couldn't find anywhere online that like reported anything they showed or did, so I just counted them as wrong, even though I probably just could have taken them off the total. I didn't see Magic the Gathering either, but I've kind of just conditioned myself to ignore pretty much everything that happens with that IP. In conclusion, I don't think like all of the reveals at this year's Summer Games Fest were the biggest and most exciting, but I do think that there was a lot of good quality and diverse lineup of upcoming games. It'll be hard to beat how stacked last year's game releases were, but we are nowhere near starved for good games. But then again, this is just based off of trailers, and we will just have to see how it all shapes up, because they could all just be duds. Who knows? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. And what was your favourite game from this Summer Games Fest? Let me know in the comments. Did I even talk about it? Did it get snubbed by me? Let me know. Thanks again to Jack Mac for helping me out with the audio cutting. He's a big help in helping me get this video out in time. Thanks to my YouTube members, Controlled Killer and Dr. Whovian 2. If you feel like my content is worth supporting financially, the option is there as a YouTube member. And while I can't offer too much at the moment, you do get a little badge next to your name in the comments, and you'll get your name in the credits of each video as a personal thank you. I also have a community Discord server, which is free to enter, where you can suggest videos and chat with me if you like. I also have a Steam curator page if you're interested in diving into some more of my video game takes that may or may not make it into a full video. Links to everything in the description of the video. Don't forget to check out games, and if you liked anything that you saw from what I've shown, any of the games, wishlist them on your Steam page. I'm not sure what my next video is going to be about. I've been talking about a lot of games recently, and maybe it's time to check up on some other things I've been ignoring. Anywho, whatever it is, I'll catch you guys all in the next one. See ya.